Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 437. This is your guide to the geek side. I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by Charlie Carden. I have survived Iowa State, Charlie.
Ooh, that's where I'm going tomorrow. Iowa! Yes, tomorrow we're recording this on a Saturday. April and I are getting in the car, and we decided we're going to see a little bit of America on our way to Star Trek Las Vegas, the huge con that has been going on for years that we're going to experience that. But we're adding some Star Trekking to it. We're going to Riverside, Iowa. It's our first stop tomorrow, where they have that little James T. Kirk Museum because it's his fictional birthplace. And we'll go on from there, be in Vegas, and then on our way home, coming back up through Indiana to Bloomington, Indiana, the fictional birthplace of Catherine Janeway, where they just recently installed a bust of Janeway. Just there's Captain Kate sitting there with her coffee cup. I don't know if she has a coffee cup, but we're going to Denver. I'm hoping to go to Mile High Comics, the world's biggest comic shop, which I've wanted to go to my entire life. April gets to see the Grand Canyon. So just a lot of exciting stuff.
How many days are you in Vegas?
4 days.
Yeah,
you got it. So anyway,
enjoy. Yes. And I was just visiting Iowa State in the beautiful, countryside of Ames, Iowa, with my son for his visit. 97 degrees with humidity is not a fun time doing anything outside.
Porn.
Yes. So if it's hot, not fun, but really fun campus there. So with that, yes, Charlie, we want to thank our patrons who make all this possible. But before we do that, we want to thank our writers and our actors who are striking. It is day 93 of the writer's strike and day 24 of the actor's strike. There's not much new to talk about this, but at this point, we are hearing that there are some like exceptions to the rule where some productions they're able to do casting and things like that. So they're getting some exceptions to the rule, which is fine. I saw a interview where a couple of actors were talking about a project. I didn't realize it was a British production. So anything happening overseas potentially, and if it's with British actors, could be exempt to it. So,
sure.
But at this point, we are all for the writers and the actors, and we have donated to the entertainment community organization. Do that if you want to support them, or find other ways to support them as well.
If you live in New York and LA, get yourself out on that picket line. I'm sure they could use the company. Again, moving from that, we'd love to talk about how much we love our Patreons. Do know you can visit patreon.com/secretfriendsunite to get a free 1-week trial of all of our great shows. And if you choose to stick around after that time, we would love it. But these are the folks who've been doing the sticking around since the get-go. We're talking about Jamie Prinky over on the Best Buds level, BFF level, Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, the Nias family. My great friend and contributor to the network, Missy Merchant, and her pal, Andy Milliken. We love you guys. Thank you for all you do. And Todd, this week's cover, it's an August cover date. So this is going back all 35-ish, 37 years. And boy, it's funny. This is not the only appearance of this character, because I'm familiar with him, but he appeared in this comic a lot. So this is issue 37 of Marvel Premiere, featuring 3D Man. That's right. Here it's a guy who is green on one side except for his shorts and his hat, and red on the other side, but his gloves are mixed matched. So it's kind of like that one episode of Star Trek where the guy was black on one side and right on the other side. It was Frank Gorshin was in it, but he is fighting he's fighting the dude, the Cold
Sub-Zero
Warrior
Man.
Yeah,
Sub-Zero Man.
He must be British if he's Cold Warrior Man. I'll tell you.
Well, no, his Sub-Zero.
Oh, I get it.
Sub-Zero Man is his real name.
And they're fighting by the docks, clearly in New York City. 3D Man says, through all the cold blasts you want, Sub-Zero Man, when you're through, spelled in the incorrect fashion, but thanks to comics, this is how I tend to spell this word. I'm going to smash you into 100 million popsicles. That is a lot. Marvel's greatest 1950s superhero faces. Now, does that mean it took place in the 1950s? I think it did. I think it was retro.
Yeah, this is an odd one, Charlie. So 3D Man premiered in Marvel Premiere Volume 1, issue 35. So this is
There you go.
his
Yeah,
like
yeah.
third appearance. This is like third
Right,
issue. And they
right.
said he's a hero of the 50s, but he
Maybe maybe Sub-Zero put him on ice.
yeah, he
This
became so. Yeah, he was basically said he was came through the unique merger of two brothers, Hal and Chuck Chandler. Chuck was a test pilot for NASA in 1958, who was abducted by alien Skrulls during an important test flight.
Alien Skrulls, not the terrestrial ones.
Correct. Earth was seen as a strategic location in an ongoing conflict between the Kree and the Skrulls.
Earth,
so
you want to go there?
So it's essentially the two brothers were combined in the 50s, but once again never didn't actually appear and do anything in the 50s as a hero. So I don't know, this kind of reminds me of Sentry. Like it's like, oh, he was a 50s hero. Not really.
Yeah.
He actually didn't do anything until the 70s.
I was going to say, yeah, I did. So anyway, I did have issue 35. So I was on the ground floor with this character, and I don't know in current parlance when was the last time he was seen, but I feel like this is not the next great MCU project that you have to look forward to. It's not the latest greatest thing, but we brought it to you here. The existence of this comic on Marvel Unlimited, it's possible, but add us over on Twitter and let us know if you know anything about 3D Man and his fate. At Secret Friends U over on Twitter, we'd love to hear from you. But as we tend to move along, somebody else who was going through a midlife crisis, in particular in the 1950s, I'm talking about our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb, currently down at the sweltering heat at the corner of Hollywood and Vine with the latest scoops for us. Let's go.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Oh, Madam Webb. 3D pictures. I believe you were in a few of those. 3D Man might have taken you to date, and he allowed you to use his 3D goggles. You apparently did not take kindly to that advance.
Boo.
Punched him in his face, and now he can only see in 1D.
I thought it made him 4D, man, because he was seeing those birds going. Toot, 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 toot. I don't know. It's totally crazy. All right, what do we got this week? We kick it off with the trailer. I saw this one before Oppenheimer, which I'm like, okay, but this is nuts, man. This is a, kind of extending out the tradition of sequels that you didn't know you needed. This is a sequel to The Exorcist, starring Ellen Burstyn as the mother of Linda Blair's character. Looks like it's set in present day. Two young girls who are friends that go into school one day. I love it how they go into school one day in this trailer, and the school's like, "Well, here's footage of him disappearing." Whoops.
They were gone. They were gone. They were missing. They didn't go back to second period. And well, we said,
it's the next day, so we're calling you. But yeah, these girls obviously get possessed by the devil, and it's obviously you're getting vibes of the first film, and then Ellen Burstyn comes in as the exorcist, and things just get progressively worse. So we had. Who do we have? We had Leslie Odom is I think the dad.
He's the dad. Because they're two parents, and this is creepy, man. Double trouble. I mean,
no doubt. But this is obviously tilting towards October, spooky season, which Todd, you're a big fan. April and I love going to the movies in general, but definitely during this time. So this should be a barn burner. Hopefully not literally, but yeah, it looks very exciting.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting one, Charlie, because The Exorcist obviously is like what people would say one of the pinnacle, horror films of all time.
Yeah.
It still scares the crap out of people, took the nation over, so many iconic scenes, and it's cool that Ellen Burstyn is coming back. I mean, the fact that she's around, 1973 is when The Exorcist came out, so we're talking 60 no,
50.
60. 50 years. There you go. I don't want to feel too old. Oh my God.
Because we were born in the 70s, so be careful there.
But 50 years, and she was playing a mother at the time. So I'm like, that's amazing.
Now she's great grandnana doing exorcisms.
And The Exorcist had 2 sequels, I believe. There was and no one really stuck around for those, and so they were I think the way it went was it was called The Beginning and Dominion, which was interesting. Those were later sequels. We had a TV series in 2016, which I heard was good. It was on Fox. And then they made some direct sequels. So this is the direct sequel trilogy, Charlie. So this is essentially saying we don't have anything after the first movie. Kind of like
Halloween. Yeah, like Halloween. Because they flushed it.
Which is funny. You might mention that the director from Halloween 2018 is behind this.
Well, really? I guess he has found his leitmotif. Good for him. Yeah.
Yes, but we know what happened with that series. The first movie we loved. The other movies we did not.
It's what they call too much of a lukewarm thing. It's
lots of weird things. Things. Yes.
So hopefully, if this follows that pattern, this will be great. And then they'll just say, you know what? Wash our hands. We'll do the dust like Roman from Fast and Furious.
Oh, I just talked about that. Yeah, talk about the worst. Why that movie is probably one of the worst movies I ever saw. It's like Pete Davidson being a weird tracker, and then not Han, but the fight between those characters,
Roman and the other rap guy. So
Luda.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Well, we don't need to dig too deep into that again.
But this is by Blumhouse, and they do good stuff. So this is really cool, and this brought back the notes, with the Exorcist, the tubular bells. They held back on it until the very end, which I thought was great.
Right. Good stuff. All right. I'm engaged. Definitely will be a Exorcist rewatch before this happens. So, okay. Wrap up. Next story, San Diego Comic-Con award season. The Eisner Awards were revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. So, Todd, you're the guy. Walk us through it. What do we got?
Yes. So the Eisners are the Oscars of comics, which is great. It's great to honor these great books that we may not all be reading, but it's good to know what's good, and then we can check it out. So at this point, they do basically like an award show for that, and it was a big year for DC with titles like Nightwing, Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler, and The Human Target winning in major characters. We read the Human Target, Charlie. We love that.
Yes, he was.
So Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo's Nightwing won the award for Best Continuing Series, and Redondo also taking home for the Best Cover Artist Award. Tom King, Mitch Garrett's Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler, won Best Single Issue One Shot, which I love one shots. King and Greg Smallwood's The Human Target won Best Limited Series, and Smallwood also won Best Penciler and inker.
Pencilor.
Exactly. The late Kevin Conroy also became a posthumous Eisner winner as his and Jay Bones Finding Batman won Best Short Story. In other big wins, James Tynion the Fourth won Best Writer. Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain won Best New Series. Kate Beaton's Ducks 2 Year in the Oil Sands won Best Graphic Novel. And let's see, anything else that stuck out to me going through this.
It's an adaptation, Chivalry by Neil Gaiman. He's a big name. We're kind of getting into the weeds after this. I saw one thing that grabbed my eye. I remember Mo Williams, the Pigeon series. Pigeon Will Ride the Roller Coaster. I don't know how that came to. It was obviously when my kids were young, but I remember that was pretty cool. So it was good to see that. But that's good. And amid a year where San Diego Comic-Con was kind of all over the place because it was a departure from the norm, because of the absence of television personalities and and actors and so on and so forth. This was pretty. It's pretty cool to see this. So
and I was just looking. There's some other things here. One thing that I would say we already talked about on Spinner Rack was it was best. Looking at the title. Going back up here, it was basically best reprinted work, which was great because it's good things get out of print. And it was going back to Parker, the Hunter that we read. So
cool series,
great series, which was awesome. Cover artists, painters. There's so many categories here that I would feel dumb to go through a lot of these because a lot of these we haven't read. But I will look through this list again just to make sure in the future, just to see if there's anything we should check out and get into. That Parker edition is called the Martini edition, Last Call, and that's pretty cool. There's web comics, digital comics, like Barnstormers is a series that I'd like to check out, Charlie, with us on Spinner Rack, and that is a Comixology original by Scott Snyder. So
Scott Snyder.
So it's kind of a throwback. So I'll share the link in the podcast notes so you can check that out and see the ones that might be like, oh, I should check that out. But kudos to DC for doing great this year. And I will definitely want to check out that Nightwing series because I've heard good things.
I like it. All right, moving on. This is some cool news for me, but again, you read news like this and everything's very bittersweet because you're like, oh, this is in development. This is blah, blah. But we're going to talk about an actor very near and dear to my heart. April and I finished watching The Office, and we've moved on to watching Community, which is a blast. Well, Community was the sitcom on NBC, I think, or one of the nets, that launched the career of Donald Glover, who became Childish Gambino, and he was been in Atlanta, and he's been in a lot of great movies, including Solo, a Star Wars solo movie. And he was absolutely the best part as a young Lando Calrissian. Well, now the word is that he and his brother Stephen Glover have signed on to write a Disney Plus series about Lando Calrissian. The deal was reached prior to the WGA strike, which is obviously why we're talking about it. So this project is in lockdown and hopefully will be returned to once that is actually possible. Oh, it's funny to see this picture of them side by side because they kind of look alike, but they kind of look absolutely nothing alike, like brothers usually do. But yeah, I think that's great. I enjoy him, and I enjoyed his portrayal of the character the same way I enjoyed, Alden's portrayal of Han Solo. I think that movie catches a lot of guff that it shouldn't, just because it wasn't a mega hit. And it's funny, that was 5 years ago. It was in the summer of 2018. And what's been defined as a mega hit just plummeted during COVID. You know what I mean? And so much so that what a mega hit now is box office standard is almost completely undefinable, because we have big bloated budgets, which deliver big bloated failures like The Flash or sadly Indiana Jones. And then you get a modest hit or something with a modest budget like Barbie, which is now an international smash, right around $750 million globally and on its way to $1 billion, which is really great. If I would have rated it higher in our summer movie challenge, I had it as number 8. Todd, yours was a little lower than that. So because we just didn't know.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting approach to these projects.
Right.
I liked the performance of the people in Solo.
Yeah.
I didn't love the movie. I thought the movie was too much like Wikipedia, the movie. Wikipedia, I guess you would say.
It was like, Easter egg the movie. Hey, look, it's this thing. Hey, look, it's that thing.
You don't have to show me everything we already know about him. We know all these things about him. Show me things that we didn't and have fun with it. So I loved his I love Donald, his take on the role of Lando. Lando has stories to tell, and that's what I want to see. I don't want just to know everything we know about Lando just shown on screen. Show us things we don't know.
What's my line? I don't need to know what Lando had for breakfast 3 days after the end of The Empire Strikes Back.
Especially if you already told us.
Why he's wearing Han's clothes.
Exactly.
It would be great if they told it. He just went into Han's locker the same way you saw Lando's cape closet when he owned the Millennium Falcon.
And I don't want to know that he has a relationship with his robot or his ship's computer. To me, that is just like the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Where does the disk drive go?
Exactly. But I think getting creative people on these projects, making quality Star Wars projects really moves the bar, not more, but making them really well done. And I didn't realize Donald's brother was a creative contributor.
I didn't know anything about him. It does say in this article that no actual writing has taken place. So after the writer's strike, prior to the writer's strike, they hadn't done any work. They had been talking about it. It was a deal. So I would imagine once the writer's strike ends, you're looking at another 2 years at minimum before you see anything like this. So we could be looking at this in 26, 27. I'm down. I mean, it's not like he can't still play the role, so I think that'll be pretty sweet.
Well, we'll see what Bob Disney does, because he at this point he's in a cost-cutting mood, so he may say, "Thanks, Johnny. We're going to bring you back to voice a Lego
Yeah.
Star Wars movie.
We would like you to be Lego Lando Calrissian. Speaking of cuts and dismays, over at so Bill Sony. Let's just start naming all CEOs. Give them a generic guy's name and then the name of the company. So Bill Sony has said that Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse and Kraven the Hunter, boo-hoo, so sad, have been delayed. I did read that Beyond the Spider-Verse now has no release date, and that Kraven the Hunter will be in later in 2024. So let's see, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Beyond the Spider-Verse had been set for March 24th of last year, is now without a release date. So that sucks because we all loved it. I actually bought that one. I did pre-order that one and have not gone back to it, but I definitely will. Kraven, set for October 6th this year, don't care, will now arrive in August of next year. So now it will not be a kind of fourth quarter Halloween horror kind of film, but judged based upon how we really didn't enjoy the trailer, that doesn't really break me up. The studio has a new Karate Kid movie relocating from the strike from June of next year to December of next year, and these will simply continue because how can they have dates for content that cannot be made because it nothing rolled on it. So yeah, whatever is in the effective can now, that's what you're going to get, and you may still end up getting it in a less than ideal format because there were no writers to do punch ups or polish on it, so they just kind of had to roll with whatever. But yeah, anything that was not in the can. They talk about our own Madam Webb here, moving in the other direction. She'll now open on Valentine's Day.
Of course,
it says 2023. I know they mean 2024 since we're in 2023 and that was months ago. So we're still going to get this movie. The next Ghostbusters film, slated for December 20 of this year, is now March 29 of next year. So they're still releasing things, but again, much like with our pal Donald Glover and his nascent Lando project, pay these writers so they can have a living wage and we can have an entertainment industry again, because right now we're getting reality shows and soap operas and British crime dramas. That's all we're going to have, and stuff re-released from streamers on networks.
Absolutely.
Which means nothing to me because I don't have networks. So yeah, WGA, SAG-AFTRA, give those lovely people every friggin' nickel, because the entertainment industry this time next year is going to be a wasteland.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and some of this is for the good, but obviously there's no work done on these movies to make them better before they launch. So this is just moving the puzzle pieces around the chessboard to do this. The Karate Kid one is interesting because I don't think we know anything about that movie yet. And that's going to now be a December movie. Who wants to hear Karate Kid in December? They really need to work on their releases anyways, as we're learning. Mission Impossible is one that would say, you probably should have put me in the mid to end of August, because there's no movies coming out. Do I really need to be in the summer box office buzz?
Yeah. I mean,
Get me out of the fray.
August is such a weird quagmire because we did have, and granted it was the end of 2021 when there was a really weird box office season, but Shang-Chi came out over Labor Day weekend and almost was the biggest movie of the summer.
Absolutely, in 1 week. Yeah. It did great because not everybody goes away. People want things to watch, especially if it's good. And that was at a time when Marvel was on top of the world and had nothing on Disney Plus yet because Disney Plus didn't exist. I would say in this lens, Karate Kid movie would probably benefit after Cobra Kai is over.
Sure.
Because then you want to build up that desire to see something that's related to it. Don't know how they're going to pull it off. But we'll see how this goes. The Ghostbusters movie, I don't know if it's a great window for that, how it's going to go, but I would say fall's always a good guess.
Yeah, September. That was, I know the prior film came out in fourth quarter. That was a year-end film last year.
It was November, and I watched it.
21. No, it was 21.
I watched that when I was in Michigan with the family. It was a Thanksgiving movie. So kind of a weird thing. Maybe making it a September movie might make more sense.
But it was very successful. So anyway, you can absolutely count on a buttload more of these to come your way, and we will tell you all about them. So anyway, moving on to something that came out and is actually successful, and we file this under no S Sherlock because you expected this was going to happen, with the ridiculous success of Barbie, like I said, was expected to pull $90 million domestically in its second weekend, which is pretty nuts. It's only a drop of like 30 to 40%, which is really good. I mean, that's really, it's usually a lot steeper. But Mattel execs are next on their big old Hollywood moves. Barney, which we talked about in a previous episode, Polly Pocket, Shrug My Shoulders, and I think they're talking about upwards of 14 Mattel properties are in active development, which means there's probably another 30 that we talked about that are still being done. Oh boy, Thomas and Friends. I grew up with Thomas and Friends with my kids, so I might almost go see that one by myself, just out of my own Thomas nostalgia. Is that going to be live action? Is Thomas going to turn into a dude? Is it going to be Thomas Middleditch? I think he'd make a great Thomas.
It's so weird, Charlie, because if you look at this list, and I do want to call it the fact that yes, you want to duplicate success. We've tried this before. It was funny. The reason why I put and in the title of this article I put Saw Patrol, so it's like thinking about how you combine things to make a big weekend. So somebody said, how about we take Saw and Paw Patrol and make it Saw Patrol? I'm like, that doesn't work, because
please don't.
Yes, because Saw X is coming out, which is so weird. It's Saw 10,
Saw
X, whatever.
Saw the Fast and the Furious. I want Vin Diesel in that movie, and he's the first one who gets.
Well, by the way, Charles, you aware of Saw X is kind of like a midquill between Saw 1 and Saw 2?
Okay, so they're going back to when Tobin Bell is still around.
Exactly.
And I think Cary Elwes was, because he was the star of the first one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there we go.
The last Saw movie, not the one with Chris Rock, which I didn't see, but the one before that was a in between quill, because it was like, it was very similar. It was between 2 and 3 or something. I don't. You know what? You got to get a big flow chart with the Saw movies, because like the Fast and Furious, they're still trying to convince us that Brian, played by the late Paul Walker, is still a character who's alive. They really, really work hard at that.
Correct. And it's like, why is he not hanging out? Because, Brian is living his best life.
He's taking care of the kids. He's in the minivan.
Everybody else can die, but he's living his best life. Because, Brian, we can't bother Brian.
Yeah. Brian's doing all the, he's at the grocery store. He's picking the kids up from soccer practice. He's doing all the dad stuff while we're driving.
He's working on himself, folks. He's working on himself.
I appreciate, you know what? Yeah, we all should do that. So anyway, this is not at all surprising. You strike while the iron is hot. Let's see here, for the rest of their slate, other toy lines ripe for franchises like Masters of the Universe. You think we could go back to the well with the Masters of the Universe film? They were talking about that recently on either Weekly Planet or Do Go On, one of the podcasts I listened to, and I realized I don't know that I've watched that entire movie before, but the backstory of it was absolutely hilarious.
You go to Earth because you can't afford the budget of a alien planet, which quite honestly, the alien planet probably could have looked like the middle of nowhere, Australia.
It would be in that one park where they always film things in LA that has that one big tree that I'm very familiar with.
Exactly. And they were cheap. They went to a mall, Courtney Cox and Tom Paris, taking out Gwildor and all those characters you never saw. It's kind of like
Frank Langella. Yeah.
It was a live action version of Transformers. We just need to swap out all these old characters and bring in the new ones, because it brought in all the characters in that damn movie were characters nobody ever heard of and didn't care about even. It's like, okay, who's the pirate with one eye? Who's this guy? Who's that guy? Like, where's Beastman? Where's Merman? Where's Skunkor? Where's Stinkor? Where's all these guys?
I was in a Walmart this week, walked through the clearance aisle, and I saw Buzz Off and almost picked him up, because that was a character I
love Buzz Off.
It was like $5 or something. I really should have missed opportunity.
Exactly. So I'm just going to go through these really quick, Carly. So Barney, we talked about that project with Daniel Kaluuya, so that's going to be a weird one. Polly Pocket, that's going to have Lena Dunham.
Yeah, they show a picture of her in here, and wow, she really looks different. That's on
Polly Pocket's such a niche thing for girls. That's like in Humanoids or something like that. That I'm like, is it going to really have a following?
Like Sectors or the Silverhawks?
Yeah. Exactly. Centurions or Hologram Warriors, whatever it was called. Hot Wheels. J.J. Abrams has been attached to that. I mean, why not?
Oh my!
It's cars. Rock'em Sock'em Robots starring Vin Diesel with writer Ryan Eagle. No, just make Real Steel 2.
That's going to be a no for me, dog. Oh yeah. I was going to say anything with Vin Diesel. His train has sailed, as far as I'm concerned.
American Girl's supposed to be a comedy. Okay, I'd rather have the SNL sketch. We move on. Magic 8 Ball. We talked about that. It works for a horror film. Why not?
I finally remember the gig. It's a guy, and in this case, they put a MAGA hat on top of him, looking down and saying "Magic 8 Ball," and am I stupid? And he's holding a bowling ball. That was the punchline. I couldn't remember.
There you go. Major Matt Mason. Apparently, this was a character who was a astronaut starring Tom Hanks, written by Akiva Goldsmith and Michael Chabon.
Oh, Michael Chabon, who wrote Picard?
Oh, he wrote a lot of other things. Talented guy, but I mean, we're doing that with this series. An Uno series, Charlie, written by Marcy Kelly. Wishbone, the dog movie with Peter Farrelly, so a comedy about he solves historical. He recreates novels as dogs. Matchbox movie, which probably wholly different than Hot Wheels.
Well, that's going to be the dichotomy. It's probably like Marvel and DC, or it's like the Transformers and the GoBots, right?
Matchbox is like the more realistic, and Hot Wheels was like, hey, let's put wheels on a coffin and call it a car.
people are dying for this ride.
Exactly.
Or all the ones like here's the Spider-Man car, here's the Punisher, SUV. I don't know.
Here's the Fantastic Four van
with no windows.
Exactly.
The Punisher van down by the river. Oh my god.
Yeah, but just getting back to your Thomas and Friends, Charlie, Mark Forster is the director. He was behind World War Z and Monster Ball. Really? Is that who you want?
Oh, God. So it's going to be Thomas in a post-apocalyptic island of Sodor.
Death Train.
Death Train, the train that couldn't slow down.
Exactly.
Yes, I will watch it with irony. So anyway.
Yes. No, Charlie, we can't wrap this up because you asked this question on Twitter.
Okay.
One of the projects we saw was Christmas Balloon. You're like, what is Christmas Balloon?
What? Okay. Is that something? Is that like an 8 Ball? Is it about heroin? Tell me the truth.
No, so it is not based on a toy line, but it's about a young girl's dream comes true after she tied her Christmas gift to a balloon that was found by a grieving couple who worked with a toy company to fulfill the girl's wishes. So real story, very heartwarming. It's a real
story, okay.
About a girl, who had tragedy, about a little girl who was looking to, like, her wish was she wasn't, maybe it wasn't getting a Christmas this year. This grieving couple helped her solve her Christmas problem. So it's very cute, but it was so weird when you said Christmas balloon. Like, I don't know what Christmas balloon is either.
Is it maybe it's a heart surgery, blown up a balloon in somebody's heart, triple bypass? I mean, you go in a lot of different direction with that. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, again, it's all pie in the sky because nothing is being written or filmed. So we'll keep talking about it. So anyway, that is the end of the news. We're gonna bid adieu to Madam Webb. Time to get out that Fuber app, that feeble Uber app. We'd asked Madam Webb to drive, but she hasn't had a driver's license since President Taft. But we got to get down to Scugtown, Nastyville. The Geek Easy awaits. So let's go.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured, and we are getting our nerd on. So, Charlie, I watched a new movie on Netflix. It's called They Cloned Tyrone.
And this one is actually in theaters, too, because I saw a poster for it.
Interesting.
Over probably the last couple of months. It's right outside Theater One at the biggest theater at the Celebration North where we go. There's a poster right outside. So I'm like, and then I see that it's on Netflix. So I'm like, that's a weird strategy, but whatever. Yeah,
Netflix has done that. They put like things out for a little bit. And people were expecting them to do that. Like put a movie out and then bring it on streaming 3 months later, because it's not like people won't watch it and you can make some money. And it would actually make theater owners very happy. So this movie was just released it was in theaters like in June, came out July 21st. So I think it was released theaters first, then July. So I just watched it.
I don't remember seeing it on the charts at all. So obviously releasing it on streaming was the right move because at least it's getting eyes on it.
Exactly. And I saw no advertising for this outside of on Netflix. It's coming. But this was a really kind of a cool movie. It was a more of a genre type movie where you got John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and Teyonah Parris, who I don't know if I've ever seen her or anything, but she was really good.
Teyonah Parris is the third Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay. She was
Yeah.
great in this. So
Yeah, she's
Photon.
Photon, or she's Photon. Yeah.
Well, it was hard to tell because she was playing a prostitute in this, so she put her all into this.
Different hair, not
different
the
look,
afro.
different look, and she was great in this. And it was essentially the setup was Jamie Foxx was a pimp, John Boyega was a drug dealer, and Tina Paris was a prostitute.
Fantastic cast of people.
Exactly. This was a horror sci-fi comedy is the best way to put it, and I really enjoyed this. I like the tone it set, and this is all about, I don't want to give it away thing, but basically John Boyega is living his life. He's not really happy, and one day he ends up getting killed and hit, essentially.
It's Tyrone. So it wasn't Tyrone Biggums?
No. And his name, he goes by Fontaine, but his name is Tyrone Fontaine. He goes by Fontaine, and he is killed, and he wakes up the next day totally fine. Nothing's wrong. And everybody's like, you got killed. We saw 6 bullets in your body. What happened? And it basically goes down the rabbit hole of, we find out there is more going on, government conspiracy.
Of course.
But you come to the yard for these 3 characters and their relationships, and Jamie Foxx. I'm not a big Jamie Foxx fan, but him as a pimp, Charlie. Holy crap. We're talking like, he's totally going on the player haters ball. He's all in.
The pimp hand is strong, you're trying to tell me?
He's hilarious. This is R-rated. It's not got like nudity, but a lot of F-bombs dropping, a lot of B-words dropping. You got to be like into the mode of this, but I like where they went. And there is a guest star that is not known, that doesn't show up late in this game.
Kind of cameo, big blowout.
Well, kind of more of a cameo, and it was really great. I think you would enjoy this. I think you would really enjoy this movie, Charlie. I liked it a lot. I thought it was great, and it leaves the ending of this movie. And this is the rare Netflix that has a post-credit scene, which I wasn't expecting. I stuck around like, they're doing this. So I think it was really well worth the journey. It's very cool. It's almost like a Black Mirror type of thing. It's 2 hours long. It's on Netflix. I really liked it. And
you know what absolutely drives me nuts about Netflix? Because I travel, and I have a travel Roku that I'm able to watch programming stuff. Netflix, with their dialing back the screens and everything, in order to use Netflix from a separate no, that's not it. Nope. From a separate device, you have to plug it in with your home IP address in order to be able to use it on the road. It's a huge, and I refuse. That is, I never think of it. It's a huge hat on principle alone. I just don't use Netflix when I'm on the road, which is a bummer because they have a lot of, I love to watch stand up. They have a ton of stand up, but I can't watch it because I can't use it because I'm not at home, nor did I blah, blah. So Netflix, get your stuff together.
It's weird. When I was in Europe, I didn't have that problem. I could watch Netflix overseas, obviously, and do that. And I was just watching at a device. I was just watching.
And that may be a fairly,
might be better just to watch it on tablet.
I don't know that would make a ton of difference, but anyway, that's what I'm not. But yeah, this sounds like fun.
Great movie. I mean, it's hit or miss for some people, and I think it at its best when these 3 characters are together. So they cloned Tyrone, and there is a great Erykah Badu song. Got to call Tyrone. She sang this and did a version with They Cloned Tyrone. I'm like, Erykah Badu, you are people love Beyonce. I would take a Jill
Scott,
or Badu,
or Janelle Monáe.
I would take any of those over Beyonce because I think they just are just singing for the pleasure versus for the profit. So I thought it was great. So
that's why none of them are Queen Bey. But So and we had a big finale this week.
Oh, Charlie, yes, we did. Talk about Marvel being at a nadir, and now people are saying that Disney Plus has killed Marvel. That is a lot of overkill, I think. But I think there are lessons learned that you took the hottest series in the world, you diluted it by giving everybody a series. having series that you milked
you
out.
you overwatered the plant. Marvel was a plant, and you decided to turn the fire hose on.
Yeah, there are a few good series on
Yeah.
MCU series on Disney Plus, but I would say those are the exception rather than the rule. And this series took 6 episodes to finally have something happen
To have to even have a big superhero punch out.
Yeah, so spoilers. We're gonna go spoilers. We're gonna go into this. So it's out now. So check it out if you haven't. And if you haven't watched it at this point, you probably won't because you probably don't care because you probably didn't really even realize this thing was out.
Right. Exactly.
So Charlie, we essentially have got a new, I guess, status quo when it comes to the Skrulls, that they are outed. The president says we're going to kill them all. Gaia, who is Nick Fury, or
Emilia Clarke,
Talos's daughter, who now is essentially a super Skrull.
She's like to the nth degree because of her final slug out with Benedict Kingsley's character, who is Gravik, so the villain that we've been following this whole time. The series concludes, not to cut through all the subterfuge, like she's posing as Nick Fury, but she reveals herself. They both get souped up by the machine that has processed DNA samples collected at the Battle of Earth, which was the first time the battle at the end of Endgame was described as such. But both of them get imbued with powers of characters at that. So you see, everything from Groot to Drax to the Hulk to I think Spider-Man, maybe. I mean,
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel was the big one, and then obviously this is a Captain Marvel kind of centric storyline because of Nick Fury being very central to the Captain Marvel storyline, and we know that we're going to see him in the Marvels. But this was a series that I think 2 out of the 6 episodes had anything interesting happen. There was the big shootout at the motorcade that happened in episode 4. And then you had this big slug out at the end, but it was a very ugly, everything but the blue sky hole CGI slap fest. And maybe not as high, it kind of was evocative of what people really hated about that, third act of The Flash with all the really, kind of drilled down, not great looking CGI. I don't know. This was, like you said, I don't know that Marvel is kissing the bottom of the tank, but they can see it because it's just not great. It was not great. It was not terrible, but it was kind of a C- kind of TV series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this was one I was really excited for because I thought, they could do something cool with it. And they kind of did not honor Secret Invasion, the comic series, which I thought was one of the best ones. Yeah,
because your only Skrull who had been replaced forever and ever was Rhodey. And now there's buzz saying, well, he got replaced after Civil War. That's when they're saying, so he's been, and the blip notwithstanding, so he's been a Skrull that whole time. So even though they didn't come right out and totally say it, but and the Skrull Rhodey gets killed, and all of the captured humans get released. Which is great to get released into the radiation that would kill. Let's get them out. Yeah, exactly.
Killing Nick Fury and then we've got a million Skrulls that are still unaccounted for.
Right.
What does it mean? Once again, the president said we're going to kill you if we find you. Then we've got Nick Fury essentially trying to make peace with the Kree, with his wife Vara, who are going to try to find a peace with the Kree, who they're mortal enemies, to find them a home planet. We could go from there. And so the new status quo is a little funky because now essentially the Earth is going to try to kill. I mean, we got a preview of kind of like there are like vigilantes now killing people, whether they think Skrulls or not.
Right, because there's a big montage at the end with shoot-ups that some Skrulls will get killed, but another one is a press conference where they shoot this woman and she falls down and she's not a Skrull. So it's it's kind of, vigilante justice. And then President Ritson, who's played by I always get
the Dermot or the
Mulroney. Dermot Mulroney is like, kill them all, get them off my planet. So, but that he's being replaced by Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross, who's going to be the president and Captain America. So
how the hell is all this stuff going to be handled?
No clue.
And you think you get to another Marvel series and it's like, are they going to be talking about this? And this is what I worry. There's too many balls to be juggled. And it's like, is it just going to be like, all those things where they're talking about killing all the Skrulls and the paranoia? I'm like, everybody's fine. Everybody's good
It'll
to
be
go.
fine. We'll be good. It's no big deal.
Exactly.
Everybody's happy. So
Yeah.
I just it's a real bummer.
It's a weird turn of events for which started so strong with WandaVision. Now where it's going to land, we don't know with the next series we actually get.
Right.
But it makes me think, Charlie. It's somebody made a joke about the fact when you got Gaia taking on Gravik and the thing, and it seemed like they said this is the point where She-Hulk would come in and say, "We're not doing this, are we?" But it actually happened because we almost had that type of battle in She-Hulk, and they made fun of it, and we got it here. Right. And it's like, ooh, boy, Emilia Clarke, man, I feel bad for her because she just cannot find a project that really has helped her career.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. And then I would say the standout was definitely Olivia Colman, who is great.
And she's playing one of the Fallsworth, which is the Union Jack.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be a descendant of that line, which was in the Invaders, and it was basically your British style of Captain America from back in World War II. So
MCU, Charlie, we're getting next Loki 2, but Jonathan Majors is supposed to be in that. Are they just going to push it again?
I don't know.
And if we can have a convicted felon or a freed man who now feels like he's been shunned by Disney.
And then we have, looking back to the film, we have the Marvels, and then we have Captain America next year. We have something else earlier next year, don't we? Or is it Captain America the next thing going into 24?
Yeah, and we're supposed to get that X-Men series, the X-Men 97, which no one has actually said anything about that.
The Spider-Man freshman year, when's that? I don't know when that's. I thought that's
was a problem. They announced all these things. They even talked about that. Funny part was like what we announced at San Diego Comic-Con last year, and then where they're all at, and it's like, we don't know.
They're nowhere. They're out there. So, I don't know. Well, to decide the fate of it the other day. But anyway, getting into, I did sample something on Marvel this week because with my car, Honda has Apple CarPlay, which means it slaves the apps directly into the little screen so I can scroll about them. And one of them is Audible. And I've gone back and forth with Audible, but listening to an audiobook when you're in and out of the car sometimes, or even on a long drive, can kind of be a struggle, but I do still try. But one of the ones I pre-ordered is A Stitch in Time. That's Andy Robinson's Garrick novel from DS9. That's supposed to come out this week. Yep. But the one that I snagged was actually a dramatization of my favorite miniseries of all times, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars from 1984 and 1985. And I listened to what was essentially probably the first issue of a 12-issue series. And it's kind of neat. It's funny because they start out with the cast, and it's a cast of like 25 people, and they list all their names. So I'm like, when are they going to get done doing this? But they start off telling the story. If you remember the opening sequence of that is that you have all the heroes in one domed ship, you have all the villains in another domed ship, and it's all the entire story. I get the feeling is kind of being told from the perspective of Steve Rogers. So it starts out doing it that way. Some of the voices are funny. Dr. Doom speaks with a Middle Eastern accent. Not a Middle Eastern, Eastern European, not a Middle Eastern accent. That would make no sense.
Did they move Latveria to the Gulf Coast?
To Saudi Arabia. Yeah, no, not exactly. But yeah, it was I mean, I'm liking it so far, but one thing that I heard, and I immediately said, no, you just didn't do that. Monica Rambeau's character of Captain Marvel, which was introduced in 1982, is referred to this as Spectrum, which is what the character is currently known as. Yeah, they changed that. They changed that. I did not appreciate that in any way, shape, or form. I kind of banged my fist on the side of the car. I said, no, you did not. It's terrible because I think anybody who's listening to it are probably people like us.
Yeah.
And so why pervert that and retcon that for absolutely no good reason, just because now now Brie Larson is that character. Yet there are other characters in Secret Wars that don't exist in the MCU or are contradictory.
Titania, is Titania in that? Because it's not, it's not, what's her name from She-Hulk, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't gotten that far, but yes, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I will. It's about, this one was It's about 6 hours long, so I'll listen to it over the next several months. Maybe a little bit on the drive here, so we'll see. But I'm just kind of enjoying that. So so that's listening to audio. Over on Paramount Plus, the legacy, the dynasty of Taylor Sheridan continues. But the dude really does diversify. He's doing something different. He is now doing a military drama, a spec ops drama called Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana as a badass handler for the CIA / elite military unit. She recruits somebody new who is rescued out of a very Tyler Sheridan-ish kind of situation. Ex-stripper, boyfriend who's a drug dealer, runs away, but then, runs right in the arms of the United States Marine Corps.
Runs a cattle ranch.
Yep. They do that too. And, but no, Zoe Saldana is, she's much like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like in True Lies. Nobody in her family knows what she does. And she goes home to her husband and 2 kids. Surprising amount of nudity out of Zoe Saldana. So
Really?
I was, and on a streamer too. That was also the case in 1923. There was full frontal nudity of one of the female characters. And I was like,
wait, Nicole Kidman's in this too?
Nicole Kidman is not. You're thinking of it was Helen Mirren, so it was her, 80-year-old.
I know, but she's in this though. Nicole Kidman's in this, though.
That is correct. Yes, she is the handler's handler. Nicole Kidman was not naked. No, it was Zoe Saldana. So that was kind of surprising.
No, I didn't ask for Helen Mirren to be naked.
No, well, I was talking about 1923, and then you pivoted backwards. But
no, Harrison Ford had full frontal nudity.
Yep, you got to see the shriveled balls as much as humanly possible. But no, this is on Paramount Plus. It's a weekly release. Comes out on Sunday. I think 2 episodes are out now, and I'm digging it. But again, I like the guy's style. But if you enjoy your Jack Reachers or your Zero Dark 30 or your what's the one with Tina Fey, Oscar Foxtrot something or other, you know the one I'm talking about.
No, I don't, because I didn't watch it, but I assume you know what you're talking about, so I'll agree.
I think so.
Yes,
but yeah,
I agree. Yes, Charlie. You're absolutely right.
Basically, it's your Black Hawk Down, Black Ops, military stuff, in the Middle East, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's very cool, riveting. April loves it. Like, she loves the not Jack Reacher, but Jack Ryan, which I kind of gave up on. But yeah, no, it's kind of cool. I like it. So I would recommend checking it out.
So I'm going to ask a question, Charlie. This
Here
is
we go.
A metaphysical question. Is is Tina Fey our generation's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, or vice versa?
Or vice versa, moving backwards in time.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen Julia Louis-Dreyfus in a super dramatic role that I can think of, because Tina Fey, we know she's now branching out.
Well, we had what's it called, Veep, and then we had
but even that was a lot more satirical. So I don't know. I don't know why you're asking, because Tina Fey's not in this.
Tina Fey in the MCU is what I'm saying, Charlie.
Oh, I gotcha. Who could she be?
I'm going to make her Madam Viper.
Oh, Madam Hydra. I like it. The Viper.
Yes.
Very cool. But anyway, okay. Well, that is the end of the Geek Easy. Time to get out that Air Qantas app. We're headed to the land down under. Hologram Tina and the mutants are waiting for a new game that Todd has threatened me with, that I'm going to be in the hot seat. So let you know what, I'm game. Let's party.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week we're doing a new sidebar project. I was doing a little bit of brainstorming. I thought, let's do something fun. We're going to call this the numbers game. So it's a look back at the box office of the years that end in 3: 1973, 83, 93, 2003, and 2013. So there's going to be some questions to Charlie along the way, and I'm just going to be bringing everyone along the voyage of the box office. So I thought this could be fun. So I'm referencing a website called The Numbers, Charlie. This is a new website. They do a lot of box office. You can do spreadsheets. You can just extrapolate anything through the numbers for there. So the fun part about this is the numbers does not only like grosses, they do tickets sold. So this would tell you actually how many people went to a film.
Wow.
Some do screens, like how many actual screens was a movie on. That's a big thing. Like now there are more movie screens than ever. I think 5,000 is typically the high point for movies.
Yeah.
And the numbers reduce every week that a movie's out because others
Right.
replace it. So Tom Cruise is pissed off because every week that Mission Impossible is out,
Oppenheimer just came along and ate his
Kicks him
IMAX
out.
lunch. Knocked him out.
So we talk about like, the percent of the box office where it released. So I thought this would be fun to look back at different years and, what was the look of the box office? How did they do? And we could go from there. So, Charlie, and I'm going to ask you some questions. We're starting in the year 1973. Neither of us were born.
Right.
So with that, it was an interesting year. There weren't a lot of genre films, as we would say, but there were a lot of, the movies that typically did the best didn't always make sense from a lens of the world of America. This is all North America, Canada, and US primarily. So it was a mix of studios as well. So Charlie, I want to ask you a question. In 1973, was a musical in the top 20?
Yes.
You're correct. Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, I would have said
number 11.
That or Cabaret, I would have guessed.
It was number 11 at $24 million. 13 million tickets were sold. So if you think about that, like tickets were like $1.25 at the time.
Like, yeah, you'd have to get one of those you see like in the greeting card store, like you were born in 1976, which I was. A loaf of bread was, 14 cents or whatever, 47 cents or something. Yeah.
In the year 1973, George Lucas had a film. Do you know what that film was?
American Graffiti.
Great. Did you know where it landed? Can you guess where it landed in the box office?
I would say within the top 5.
Correct. Number 3. It made $115 million.
Wow.
And that was 64 million tickets.
That was his first commercial film outside. He had outside of his THX 1138, which was his student film. So yeah,
correct.
It's still 5 years before Star Wars.
Correct. Did Al Pacino have a film that debuted in the top 10?
That was when Scorpio came out, right?
Well, Scorpio was not his film, but Serpico was. So very good.
Serpico!
And that was December.
My brain said Serpico. Sorry.
Yeah, so December. That was a big movie about a cop, investing in corruption.
Yeah.
Big film, $27 million, 15 million tickets. So very cool.
Million tickets. Wow.
So there we go. Did a Dirty Harry film occur in 1973?
I think the first one was in 71. So I'm going to say the second one came out in 73.
Absolutely. Magnum Force.
Nice.
$44 million, 25 million tickets.
And the villain in the first Dirty Harry Mary in 71 was Andy Robinson, Garrick, who we were just talking about. One of his very first roles, yeah.
Were there any science fiction films in the top 10 that year?
I'm thinking the Andromeda Strain came out around that time, but I feel like that was earlier. So I bet a Planet of the Apes sequel came out.
In the top 10?
Yeah.
Wrong. The highest performing science fiction film or genre film was number 21, Westworld. That only earned $3 million and 1.6 million tickets, but it was a good thing.
No wonder that went away for 50 years or 40 years.
Yes. So, Charlie, what was the highest ranking comedy in 1973?
The Goodbye Girl. I don't know why that came to me.
Okay, wrong. Number 2, The Sting.
Oh,
$159 million.
That was one of those that my parents had the LP. So I know the image, but I don't think I've ever seen the film. But I know it goes do 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 do. Yeah, big time, great time.
Robert Redford.
And
big
Newman, right?
Heist film. Yeah, it was one of their. It might have been their first collaboration before Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, very, very cool. Other than that, let me see if there's any other things I want to call out. Wow, that was a weird film. I didn't even know that was a film that existed, but I will go from there. So Bruce Lee actually had a movie that occurred this year. How did it perform?
I'm
Top
thinking
between 1 through
that's
25.
Enter the Dragon, maybe, and it was in the top. It was in the top 10.
Wrong, but you're very close.
Yeah.
Under the Dragon was number 13.
Oh, nice.
$21
Lucky
million,
13.
12 million tickets. So
Good deal.
that is and I'll just go through really quick. The top 10 of 1973, The Exorcist, as we just talked about on the podcast.
Yeah.
$193 million, $109 million tickets sold. I mean, if you think about that, tickets are now $10 a piece. 109 million tickets. We're talking about like over $1 billion just in the US. We have not seen a movie do that strong since probably The Force Awakens or Endgame.
Yeah.
Crazy. The Sting was number 2. American Graffiti number 3. Papillon, that was a Dustin Hoffman movie.
Gotcha.
Where he was a war criminal, I believe, a war prisoner. The Way We Were, a romance film.
Yeah.
Yes, at number 5. Magnum Force, number 6. Live and Let Die, a Bond film.
Was a song by Wings.
Yeah, Robin Hood animated film, which is kind of crazy from Walt Disney, number 8. Paper Moon, I believe that was
Is this a Neil Simon play? Maybe?
No, the Paper Moon was the young girl. I can't remember her name. She won an Oscar from it, and she was also Ryan O'Neal, I believe, in
there you go.
film. Yes, and then Serpico number 10. There you go.
Nice.
All right, so let's move on to the world of 1983 when we were born, Charlie. Or we were 8 years old.
We were
7.
We were alive.
Yes. Okay. So going from there, Charlie, it's very interesting to see how many tickets were sold. This was a big year for box office. We were in the franchises and things.
Yep.
So I want you to tell me, Charlie, what was the highest ranking comedy of 1983?
God, I have no clue. Did a Smokey and the Bandit come out that year? That was the only thing I could. Porky's came out in 1983, or one of them did.
Porky's did come out in 1983.
Yeah. Okay.
But not that.
Don't know.
So I will tell you, the highest ranking comedy of 1983 was Tootsie.
Oh, yeah.
It came out December 17th. 1982. So it's weird that comedy would drop that.
It was a smash.
$136 million, but 43
in 2
million
weeks.
But 43 million tickets were sold. So I'm not sure how they calculate if it's that's the total run. But Charlie, these ticket numbers have almost gone in half by this point. So less people are seeing movies, but they're seeing more movies.
I was going to say more, things are spread out. And then this was really before the home video market took off, but it was very close.
Absolutely. So you're seeing people not see a movie 18 times, but you're seeing people see more movies. And then obviously the cost of tickets have gone up. I mean, you're thinking tickets now are probably averaging probably close to $2.5.
Yeah.
$2.5. $2.5. There we go.
Give me my $0.5.
Yes, Charlie, what was the highest ranking drama film of 1983?
Terms of Endearment, I feel like came out that year.
Did not come out that year.
Okay. What is it?
It is Flashdance. This movie about a girl who is a welder,
just a small town girl on a Saturday night.
Just wants to dance. One of the best soundtracks you can think of. What a Feeling. Maniac, I believe, was that soundtrack.
Yeah, Michael Sambello.
Made $90 million, sold $28 million tickets. I mean, talk about a crazy movie. A podcast I listened to, they talked about this movie and just they're like, this girl had it all. She was a welder, wanted to be a dancer. She lived in this big building.
Big old warehouse.
She was 18 years old. I'm like, people that went to college can't even afford that type of lifestyle. So she was like a charmed life,
It really helps when you're starring in a movie.
Exactly. So Charlie, so with that, what was the highest ranked? We're gonna go with this. Musical that year.
Did Grease 2 come out that year? Oh God, I don't even know. Yeah, Grease 2 is going to be my guess. I can't think of anything.
Staying Alive, John Travolta,
Ooh,
going back to the
yeah.
well, learning how to teach people how
Yeah.
to jazzercise, and rather than dance.
Todd, number 2, Frank Stallone.
Exactly.
On
It
that
made
soundtrack, yeah.
$63 million. If you think about that, that would have been like $300 million today.
I mean, you know what? It's a great flick, but yeah, I didn't
20 million tickets. I mean,
Golly.
$10 a ticket, that's $200 million. That's a big deal. What was the highest ranked thriller suspense film of 1983?
Man, multiple choice would help with this. In 83, Witness? No, that was 84. Maybe, yeah, Witness. There we go. There's my Harrison Ford guess.
You're about 2 years too early.
Damn.
It would have been War Games, Charlie, with Matthew Broderick.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Would you like
Yes.
to play a game?
Exactly. Made $74 million, 23 million tickets. So with that, Charlie, were there any superhero or fantasy films in the year of 1983 in the top 25?
I can think of 2 genre films. Maybe not a superhero film, but of course Return of the Jedi and Superman 3, which I just watched the other day.
You are correct. So Return of the Jedi was number 1, $249 million, 79 million tickets. That is essentially roughly double the number of tickets that people went to see Tootsie. So kind of crazy from there. But Superman 3 did not break the top 10. It was number 11.
Oh, bummer.
It came out in June. It made $60 million, less than National Lampoon's Vacation, which is kind of crazy, which was number 10.
Superman 3 is a very offbeat film. We were having a conversation about it with some friends, and I'm like, we should watch that. And I love Richard Pryor, so that's what drove my interest.
Yeah, it sold 19 million tickets. It's funny because the top 6, there is literally only $5 million between the top 6 and top 11 movies. So it's really a cluster of like movies that did okay, which is just really funny. So yeah, it was an interesting year in box office because we did have Oscar winners. Gandhi launched that year.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
number 13. Comedies like 48 Hours as well. Big Chill, Terms of Endearment, Blue Thunder, Jaws 3D, Charlie, really crazy. E.T., like even its second year out, because it came out in 82, it still was the 21st ranked movie a year later.
Because it's like the original Star Wars was in theaters for 2 years because that's the only way that people saw it. You know,
Exactly.
it didn't make its way to TV. There was no home video market.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the only way people saw stuff. I was like, let's go see E.T. for the 48th time.
Exactly.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, E.T. actually in his second year still beat out Porky's 2 the next day.
Oh, boo!
Exactly. And it's funny because Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, this is funny because that movie was re-released. Even a movie that had been out for 50 years, still in its re-release, made $30 million. That was the time when it was like you didn't know when you would see these films again.
Right.
So really, that was the
Back
only
into the vault.
And that was the only animated film of 1983, really,
Wow.
that broke the top. I mean, The Dark Crystal was at number 38. So crazy year. It was kind of interesting. To the top 10 really quickly. Star Wars, number 1. Tootsie, number 2. Flashdance, number 3. Trading Places, number 4. War Games, 5. 6. Octopussy, Bond. Mr. Mom, number 7. Staying Alive, 8. Risky Business, 9. Tom Cruise. And 10. National Lampoon's Vacation. Moving on to 1993, Charlie.
Jurassic Park is the first answer.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So this is an interesting year because we did get like, you know, some big movies. This was my senior year of high school. So kind of a crazy year. So this is very in forefront of my brain in regards to this movie. So in that lens, Charlie, what is the number 1 ranked thriller suspense movie of 1993?
Basic Instinct was the year before. Single White Female was the year before that. So I'm going to go with Sharon Stone had another movie called Sliver that I feel like that came out. That's the only one I can think of. I know that's not.
Was a Baldwin in that one too? I think?
Yeah.
All those screens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. But no, I'm striking out. What is it?
The Fugitive. Harrison
It's
Ford,
one of my
the remake of the
favorites.
series. Yes.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
Yeah, $183 million, Tommy Lee Jones. 44 million tickets sold.
Oh
Charlie.
God, great flick. One of my faves. And the sequel to
Absolutely.
that, U.S. Marshals, I adore that film.
Absolutely. Tommy Lee Jones won an Oscar for that film. Crazy.
Really? Yeah.
He did. Yes.
Oh boy. Yeah, I love both of those films. Actually, that's one I have it on a double disc. It was when you bought DVDs and they come together. So anyway, all right, what's next?
So Charlie, what was the number one comedy movie of 1993?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna kick myself because I saw so many movies back then. It was my junior year of high school. Should have you give this to me in multiple choices.
Charlie saw these movies by himself. No date.
No, Todd, that's you.
Very
You go to see movies by yourself. I went with my mother.
That was right. That was your date of the time.
Yes, exactly.
I forgot. My mother was not visiting me at Michigan State or
Oh my gosh.
on movie dates with me.
Let's see here. Top of 93 was of a comedy was Ace Ventura was the year after. This is so embarrassing.
3, 2, 1.
Don't got it.
Choose. Okay. That would be Mrs. Doubtfire, number 5, Charlie.
Oh, I thought that came out in 94.
$122 million, sold 29 million tickets. Robin Williams in drag is a audience draw.
That is a recipe for success. All right, what else you got?
Okay. What was the number one romantic comedy of 1993?
It wouldn't that's Sleepless in Seattle. My God, how am I just losing all of these for a year when I was a young adult? Oh my God. Oh gosh. Okay, so 1993. Oh my God, this is good. I'm going to say Sleepless in Seattle, but it's wrong.
You're right.
Whoa,
Number 4, Charlie.
I thought that came out in 92.
$126 million, 30 million
Nice.
tickets.
It's
really good.
It's a great flick. Yeah, it's a great.
Was there an animated movie in the top 10?
I don't think so.
You're wrong. Aladdin was number 8. Disney was still on fire. $93 million.
Oh my goodness.
22 million tickets sold. Did Sylvester Stallone have a movie?
Yes.
Top 10?
Cliffhanger.
You're right. Number 9. $84 million. 20 million tickets. So Charlie, another question to follow up. Wow, there's some interesting films here that were in the top 10. But I'm going to go a little deeper. I'm going to go top 20.
Okay.
Charlie, what was... we'll go with this. Did Tom Cruise have a movie in the top 10 this year?
Oh my gosh, what was he in? Days of Thunder was in 1990. Far and Away? Or that was 92. Damn. Okay. I'm going to go...
A story of Irish oppression leading to happiness. No, he did not have a movie.
Oh, yep. He was between movies. Yeah.
But he did have a movie at number 13.
Okay.
A Few Good Men. A movie like that.
That movie came out in 92, though. That is one of my favorite films.
How? Yes, December 92. So we had a crossover. So you're absolutely right.
I watched that movie recently for the first time in a very long time, and it still holds up. Still so good.
Yes, very good.
And it gave way to, Todd, your favorite Donald Belsario program, Jag.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Tom Cruise is just, he was disappointed he couldn't appear in that. So there you go. That's 1993. I'll go through the top 10 there. Number 1, Jurassic Park.
Duh.
$338 million. That was a big deal. I remember seeing that right before my graduation party. The Fugitive, number 2, 183. The Firm, $158 million. The Firm was Tom Cruise, wasn't it?
Yeah. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
so I guess I lied. So he did have a movie.
But I missed it. Yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle number 4 at 126 million. Just Doubtfire 122. Decent Proposal 106. Remember that movie?
Yeah. Woody
Robert
Harrelson
Redford was a poon hound.
wanted to get Demi Moore. Yeah, nice.
Poor.
Poor Woody. That sucked.
In the Line of Fire. Oh my goodness.
That was
102 million.
Clint Eastwood and Rene Russo. Great flick.
Exactly. And I think
Malkovich was the villain.
Malkovich was the villain. Yeah, it's with the plastic gun. Don't use that, folks. Don't use a plastic gun.
Right.
Aladdin number 8 at 93 million. Cliffhanger at 84, and Free Willy, Charlie.
Willy.
$77 million.
Was Free Willy Disney or was that early DreamWorks? I can't remember. Maybe Universal.
Free Willy was Warner Brothers.
Gotcha. The hurting Warner Brothers.
Got it.
The biggest sting of the summer is Warner Brothers.
So, Charlie, now we're getting to modern times.
2003.
2003.
One of them one of them's got to be Daredevil.
Oh my goodness. So, Charlie, in the year of 2003, what was the highest ranked musical?
Chicago?
Absolutely. Ding, 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 ding.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. Yes, this came out December 2002. So most of its earnings came out in 2003.
Yeah.
$161 million, 26 million tickets.
Nice.
All right. So Charlie, with that, what was the highest ranked comedy of 2003?
03. Meet the Parents? I feel like came out that. No. Okay.
The highest ranked comedy of 2003 was Bruce Almighty. This would be Jim Carrey acting as God, given the powers of God, from Universal Studios. $242 million.
No. He didn't get them from Universal Studios. He got them from Morgan Freeman.
Yes. 40 million tickets sold. So, Charlie, at this point, what was the highest ranked genre film?
I'm going to go with the Matrix sequel or Daredevil.
All right. So if we're excluding animation, that would be, this is a hard one. I guess you would say it's the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh my gosh. Yes. God, I love that. Curse of the Black Pearl.
Stranger Tires. So which one was this? Curse the Black Pearl. You're
the first
right.
one. The first one.
Yep, the first one. $305 million.
Oh, nice.
Million.
Yeah. Good flick.
So you see the tickets dropping. I mean, the top one sold 56 million tickets sold.
Home video, but still pre-streaming, obviously. So.
Absolutely. So, Charlie, what was the top performing drama in 2003?
Oh boy, golly, got to be some serious Oscar bait. It was way past The English Patient. Damn, I have no idea. You got me there.
You didn't think Seabiscuit was involved in this? Tobey Maguire, Seabiscuit.
In his first post-Spider-Man stab at a serious role. Yeah.
A Man and His Horse. This was by Universal Studios, $120 million, 19 million tickets. There you go.
Wow.
So, Charlie, were there any superhero films in the year 2003 that might have hit the box office?
Absolutely. Daredevil definitely comes to mind. The Matrix, maybe Reloaded, comes to mind as far as a genre film. I'm thinking of those two.
Okay. So you would be wrong.
Oh.
So Daredevil down at number 25.
Wow, that was a bomb.
$1 million.
I guess I thought that was more successful.
$102 million in 2000.
Well, technically what's considered a blockbuster, which would be a film that makes over $100 million was considered a blockbuster back in the old days.
That's pretty good back in the day. 17 million tickets. No, the highest performing superhero film, X2, X-Men United.
Oh my God. What my favorite of the old guard X-Men films.
214 million. 35 million tickets sold.
Great flick. Filmed and set in Canada.
Yes, Charlie. So a good question to follow up with that is, what is the top performing action film in 2003?
That was not the first year of the Fast and the Furious. Was that Tokyo Drift? No, that wouldn't have been a big hit. I'm striking out. Hit me.
Okay. The Matrix Reloaded.
Oh, that was one of my previous answers. Oh, man.
I think I finally saw this in film. I was in Saudi Arabia coming home.
Yeah.
I think I finally saw it in the film, in the actual theater. $281 million,
Good for
46 million
them.
tickets. Yeah, number 4. Wow.
I knew it was a big hit that year. I didn't really know where to plug it in. So, okay.
Exactly. So then it's funny because that is a strange one because the Matrix Revolutions opened up like literally 6 months later and was number 11.
Yeah.
And did like half the business. So people were done with the Matrix at that point.
Done.
Yes, exactly. So Charlie, with that, I'm looking for one other point here because it's interesting because the genres change. I'm looking for something other than what is the number one romantic comedy in 2003?
Back in 2003, My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Wrong. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Oh no.
We got Kate and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah. $105 million, 17 million tickets. And it's funny because you got no special effects in that except unless you can I believe that people can't fall in love that are beautiful. And that's a lot of magic rather than
that's the special effect. It's spectacular.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. So with that, Charlie, I think that brings me back in. Were there any other superhero films in the top 20 in the year 2003?
We covered X-Men. We're not up to Fantastic Four yet. There was not a Spider-Man. That was in 2004. Not Superman. Not Batman. No, I don't think so.
The Hulk was number 14, Charlie.
Eric
Universal
Bana
Studios.
Hulk. Yeah,
$132 million, 21 million tickets.
And shame on me because that the female in that is Jennifer Connelly, and she has always been on my Hall Pass list. Oh, she's fantastic.
Absolutely. So last question in the year 2003, Charlie. What was the top ranking horror film in 2003?
Was that the year of that might have been the year of The Ring. Might have been. Could have been.
Not so much.
Wait, there was that one with Sarah Michelle Gellar. It was the Japanese adaptation, but I can't remember the name of it. Go ahead, please.
Freddy versus Jason, 2003. $82 million.
I'm sure another
13 million tickets.
I'm sure another Canadian classic as far as where it was filmed.
Absolutely, yeah. I believe that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had a release. So I'll give you the top 10 of 2003. Finding Nemo number 1, $339 million. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Black Pearl.
Curse of the Black Pearl.
Yes. 305. Lord of the Rings. Wow. This would have been The Return of the King. That was a total of 290 at 48 million tickets sold. The Matrix Reloaded number 4 at 281. Bruce Almighty 242. X2 X-Men United 214. Elf $170 million for a holiday film. Chicago number 8 at 161. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Charlie.
That's a good flick too. I enjoyed. That was the last one that I thought was enjoyable.
Yes, and a blonde Terminator that we don't remember that woman's name. $150 million.
Christiana Loken.
Yes, there you go. And Bad Boys 2. $138 million.
The sequel that wasn't worth it.
Absolutely. Now we get into 2013. This is really close in everybody's brain.
Oh, very good.
The world is a different place, and it's very interesting.
We have the MCU, so that that's
Charlie. We've gone from 1973 over 100 million tickets sold down to this year in 2013 only 50 million tickets
for the top film. Wow.
So literally half of the people are seeing a movie, meaning probably less times, or they can wait till it comes out on DVD or video.
Right.
I mean, so many things have changed in the world, and plus the cost. I mean, if I look at this differential, tickets are now averaging probably close to $8 per film versus when we started about $1 a piece.
Yeah, right.
So that's
wild.
huge.
Wild
I mean, if you talk about in 40 years, that's 8x inflation.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. So we'll go from there, Charlie. So what was the top rated comedy of 2013?
I can't think of a comedy from 2013. Ouch. What you got?
That hurts my soul, Charlie, because we saw this in the theater together. That would be 2013's The Heat when we were checking out Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Which
It
was
was-
it Wizard World at the time?
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy and Bateman. Yeah, that was a fun flick.
And Sandra Bernhardt or Sandra
Bernhardt. No,
Sandra-
Sandy Bullock.
Yeah, that was their
Yeah,
movie.
there you go.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that great movie, Paul Feig. There you go.
Yeah.
But that was number 15, $159 million,
Oh my.
19 million in tickets.
That's a tidy profit, I'll bet.
So what was there a musical in the top 10 in 2013?
13. I don't think so. I don't have one jumping out
Wrong.
at-
Frozen was a musical, Charlie. That was number
Ah.
4. $296 million.
Wow, yeah, that was a juggernaut. But again, I know my kids liked it, but I didn't have to go see it, so maybe that's why it's not resonating.
36 million tickets sold. I enjoyed it. I can't remember if I saw it. I must have seen it in theater because we enjoyed the movie, but my son was at the time, he would have been 8 years
Yeah,
old. Let's see.
yeah.
Yeah, right around there. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So with that, Charlie, what was the top thriller suspense movie of 2013?
We were getting into maybe Insidious. We were in that vein, or Annabelle, that kind of.
Well, that'd be horror. So,
Oh, you said thriller.
suspense, yeah. So I'm thinking of like more adult, like action, those type of, movies.
I'm drawing a blank.
It would be very hard to think about this film, but it's Gravity. This movie came out in 2013.
Yeah,
$255 million,
it's
31 million tickets.
Sandy Bullock, and then her hallucination of George Clooney are the only two actors in the film. That's what I remember.
Absolutely. So what was the top horror film of 2013?
I'll go with Insidious. I think that came out that year.
Wrong. The Conjuring, but same wheelhouse. There
yes,
you go.
So close. I knew it.
Yes.
And when I said it, I was thinking of The Conjuring because I'm thinking that's the one with
Interchangeable.
Lily Taylor and Ron, the guy from Office
Ron
Space.
Burgundy.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Boo!
Ghosts don't scare me. Oops, I pooped my pants. Yes. The Conjuring, $137 million.
Nice.
Almost 17 million tickets sold. So Charlie, this is kind of crazy. Was there a fictional novel in the top 10?
A fictional
fictional novel with
yeah.
like genre elements
The
in top
Notebook. The Notebook.
10. You would be wrong.
Oh, damn it.
So when I think fictional novel, I think of like one of those would be actually, this is a weird one because there's two actually in the top 10. Oz the Great and Powerful. So this is the Frank L. Baum. This is the one with James Franco and I think Mila.
Mila. Yeah.
Oz the Great and Powerful. That was Disney. $234 million and 28 million tickets. And then The Hobbit, the destination of Smaug. Smaug. Yes.
Yeah.
In $228 million and 28 million tickets. Were there any science fiction movies in the top 20 of that year?
It was before we got Star Wars back. Star Trek. Star Trek Into Darkness.
Absolutely, Charlie. Good job.
The absolute worst Star Trek film of all time.
Oh, really? Not Nemesis?
Yeah, I would say this was worse.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, well, you straddle a thin line, but they're both incredibly bad. Yeah,
Not
you know
good.
what? You know what? I almost can't compare them because they're so bad in different ways, but they're both just so god awful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Okay. 220 million, 28 million tickets sold. Okay. with that. Then we look at everything that's in here, Charlie. Is there a movie in 2013 that had a sequel that released this year?
Yes, Captain America: The Winter Soldier was a sequel.
Charlie, you'd be wrong.
Well, it was a sequel.
But it wasn't this year. Iron Man 3 came out this
in
year.
14. Cap was in 14. Yes.
Iron Man 3 came out this year, and it was the top film. But you did get, this is fun, Fast and Furious 6 that came out this year. Fast 10, you got 6 this year. This is right in the cusp of this movie just going insane. That was at $238 million. And
they were still raking it in, and now
tickets.
they might not even crack the top 10 for this summer.
Absolutely, Charlie. So last question in regards to this. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here on the Vine that we could go into. Oh, yes. What was the highest ranking drama of 2013?
Oh, gosh. What took home the big statuette? Was it Room with Nicole Kidman? That was a big one.
Nope. It would be The Great Gatsby.
Oh, yes.
Leo DiCaprio and a few other
people. Margot Robbie, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Toby Maguire.
And Toby, as
well. I didn't see the movie, just didn't really care.
I've seen it, but it's no different than reading the damn book.
Absolutely.
It
made $144 million and 17 million tickets, almost 18 million tickets. So there we go, folks. And I will go through the top 10 of 2013 really quickly. Iron Man 3, $408 million, 50 million tickets sold. Hunger Games: Catching Fire, 407 million, 50 million tickets. Despicable Me 2, 367 and 45 million tickets. Frozen at 296, 36 million tickets. Man of Steel, DC shows up. Which was a good film. I enjoyed it, but had some problems. At 291 and 35 million tickets. Monster University, 268, 33 million tickets. Gravity, 255 million and 31 million tickets. Fast and Furious 6 at $238 million. 29 million tickets. Oz and the Great Powerful at 234 and $1 million and 28 million tickets. And The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug, $228 million and 28 million tickets. And with that, Charlie, I'm going to pause here. I got to go bathroom really quick, and I'll be back.
Okay. It's a weird time. We ate late, and then now I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. I'm starving.
Not ate either. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're back. All right. Well. That is the year in box office in years ending in 3, Charlie. So we'll see if this. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed this. If you have ideas on what we can do in these weird days where there's not much happening, and we can cover a topic that could be a lot of fun. So hopefully, you didn't feel like I was putting you on the spot, but Charlie, you did very well.
That's good. Well, I feel like I started strong and fell off, but it would be a cool one next. Maybe like a year a superhero popped up. Like, hey, it's 1962. Here's
77,
give me
78,
but give me multiple choice. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, be like here's 4, and we'll do every 10 years or something. Like start in 1950. Here's 4 characters. One of them it was their first year. So that'd be fun. I take
we'll see how that. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But good job, Charlie, looking at the back at the box office of these years. We'll do more weird games as we look forward to it. And if you have suggestions on games we should do, let us know, because we're always looking for new games and more topics to pursue.
Yes, and doodly. And you can do that by hitting us up over at Twitter at Secret Friends U. But anyway, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. Todd, where do people find you out there?
Oh, they find me on at Toxtra on Twitter. I'm also on Threads. I may be looking at Blue Sky as well. And especially my fantasy football draft starts in August, Charlie. So I'm going to be really excited about the world of the NFL and college sports. So I'll probably be doing most of my stuff there. But I really want people to check out our Patreon.
Yes, please.
Patreon.com/SecretFriendsUnite. I also want people to check out our website where we have a lot of good stuff there. I try to put all our video on the main page. I've been a little lagged on that because I got a new computer. And then I also want people to check out also our, just our feeds and
Yeah,
give us
please.
reviews on all of our podcasts as well to let us know what you like, what you don't like, and what you'd like more of.
Precisely. And you can find me, of course, over on Twitter at the C3. That's where you find me a lot of the time. My wife, April, and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey, which we are taking on the road to Star Trek Las Vegas starting tomorrow morning. But we are the one of the largest chapters of the International Star Trek Fan Club in the world, based here in West Michigan. I actually also run Region 13, which is Michigan and Eastern Canada. If you're a Trekker within the sound of my voice, would like to meet hot young singles in your area. No, I mean Trekkers in your area. Drop us a line from that website or any of our socials, and we will connect your dots, as it were. No, don't do that. But with that, friends, as always, once again, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In the truck.
Tyrone, call me back because I want to hear from you because you might be a clone.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.